What's going on, everyone? Happy holidays. Hopefully, you are enjoying the holidays and you're enjoying your Christmas. So, I'm going to keep working though, making videos and stuff. Here we have a video that I made yesterday that took off and all the people that supported it. I appreciate that, y'all. Thank you. And I hope you're enjoying the content. Um, it was the PS5 Pro versus Series X Space Marine 2 new updates. And I said the Series X has a better CPU. It keeps 60 frames per second more, and the PS5 Pro drops. And so we have some comments here. As you see, it gets pretty interesting. We got 152 comments right here. We got some people to highlight. So let's get ready to do this. This is going to be interesting. And of course, you're going to see some people with just, IQ drops because the pony base just apparently has that. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So let's go ahead and highlight some of these comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Like I said, hopefully y'all enjoying y'all's Christmas. If you got a PlayStation, enjoy it. If you got an Xbox, enjoy it. If you got a Nintendo console, enjoy it. If you got a PC graphics card or whatever you got, enjoy it. If you got some games, enjoy them. At the end of the day, life is great. We all know that, right? But we do love our entertainment. We do love that though with facts, which I like to do, putting people in their place and balancing the spectrum, as I've explained before. Like I said, in the pony spectrum, it's very unbalanced and delusional. So yeah, we need to bring the scales of justice over there and slam it down on them. So we're gonna get to Fatso here, but let's start with Cranium. But me and Cranium made up. He's cool. He even told me happy holidays. We're fine. But we're gonna get to the other guy who doesn't want to give it up. So like I said, we're gonna read this. Like I said, Cranium's cool. There's no problem here. He was like, first, PS5 Pro lives rent free in your head. Let it go. You've done 28 videos odd in the last month bashing the Pro. And, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, I'm doing full coverage. I don't do anything half-assed here. When I do something, I like to do it professionally. We're professionals over here. You know what I mean? We make sure we get every angle, possible. And I said, growth and facts. You seem to not be able to handle it. But like I said, we're fine. He was like, facts LOL. Series X CPU runs at 3.8, Pro 3.85 in performance settings. Series X CPU is better. We're going to get to that. I'm going to explain that because it is. I said, it's the same thing as the base PlayStation 5. I said, it can only do that if devs use it to, but it's still based at 3.5, which it is most of the time. You didn't read on it. It's the same as the PS5 CPU, except it can try to target that if it needs it at times. That's why Series X performs better, because it has an overall stable, higher base clock. And I don't understand what was so hard about that when this other dude comes in. Here comes the guy extra. This is the problem here. He's still going. Series X CPU also drops at 3.66, which means that it's 1.6% higher on an average ratio than a PlayStation 5's 3.5. That's why Space Marine 2 is performing better with SMT enabled, but it goes up to 3.8 a lot more than the PlayStation 5 does because it's naturally designed that way, where the devs have to make sure that the PS5 uses that. And he says the PS5 Pro doesn't have a separate speed for SMT. Chances are that most console games aren't using SMT, but it's still a fact the PS5 Pro has a higher CPU performance ceiling than the Series X. Yes, but the CPU of the Series X performs better on average. That's what he's not understanding. That's why the results are like that. And in CPU-heavy games, you're going to see that. Then he says the CPU has 10% over the base PS5 CPU, and it can only do that if devs use it. So the CPU can go higher than the series than if the devs, not the CPU. I get what he's saying. A car that goes, and then that's just a bunch of blah. He says exactly what I was going to say. This is what I said. Dude, it's still a base clock of 3.5, same CPU. They overclock it to do that when it needs. Then he says, but it's capable of 3.5. Still missing the point. Guys, I don't understand what's so hard about this. Then we go down. This is where me and him keep going. He says PS5 Pro CPU is the same as the PlayStation 5, only architecturally. Now you're just being goofy. It's in fact not the same CPU because it's an APU, CPU, GPU combined to begin with, and a die shrink in the PS5 Pro's APU is what enables it to clock to 3.85. Space Marine 2 is Pro enhanced. It's running into more CPU bottlenecks. That only indicates the developers didn't use. Oh, here we go, blaming the developers again. Dude, shut up. I said no one's arguing here, but you're not realizing the stats show otherwise, bro. I get what you were saying. And he says, are you sure you're not making the argument that the PlayStation 5 Pro CPU has worse performance than the Series X? That's what it's doing, because that's exactly what you've been saying through the entire video. And this is what I said. This is where Cranium came, and he was like, sorry for my original comment. I should have worded it a bit better and not come across as a bit of an arse or nasty, maybe Australian or whatever. Having a bad day, I took it out on you. But I'm normally more respectful with my comments. Cheers anyway. This is what I said to him. It's fine. We have no issues here, brother. There's no problem. Cheers, mate. At the end of the day, life is good. And because this guy wanted to continue, which by the way, seems like he deleted that one comment, this is what I did right here. The base clock speed for the PlayStation 5 Pro is 3.5 gigahertz. The Series X base clock is 3.66. So since they want to talk about that 0.5 difference, this is a 1.1% difference since it's running on a base clock at 3.66. So on average, that 1.6 for the totality from beginning to the end is beating that mathematically. And then when it goes to 3.8 and that 0.5 difference is there, by the time it gets those little bit of differences, if it's using that, it narrows right back down to that. And then we're back between that 1.1 difference. Guys, do we understand that mathematically? You know what I mean? This is math here. That's why the Series X CPU on average is upholding more. Because they don't want to keep the CPU on a overclocked like that. It's going to cause more issues over time. So they're not really worried about that. They're just trying to get the most power out of games that were more GPU heavy. And that's why when we seen the performance, we're just sitting over here again, talking about this little temporary number, now understanding that 97% of the time, or the majority of the time, they're using that 3.5, and the Series X is still on a higher average. And they did that back in 2020. They had to do that for the Pro. But yeah, he's still sitting there arguing, talking about it has different architecture. No, you dumbass, that's the same CPU. It says it right here. Then they can use a frequency that increases it. But the base, meaning the average usage, is the 3.5. That's not hard to understand. You know what I mean? And he just says, Merry Christmas right back. So me and him are close. Says yes. Then he says yes. But before you said the architecture was different. PS5 Pro CPU has 2 modes. Oh, yeah, I wonder. No, yeah, I wonder. I've been said that. Base and higher frequency mode. In higher frequency mode, it has higher performance and Series. See, he's still going about it again, not understanding that the results are showing you that what you're talking about is something that's not used the majority of the time. None of that is contradictory to the fact that the PS5 Pro CPU has high performance ceiling. Once again, I said the Series X has a better CPU. It does, because it doesn't need to try to hit that ceiling. On average, the CPU is base clocked higher, and you're going to be using the base more than anything. Overall, you're getting better results, so it's a better CPU. What's so hard to understand about that? The PS5 Pro CPU also had both a base and a boost mode. Dude, we know this. I was like, oh my God, dude, give it up. The Series X has a better CPU ratio. I didn't say ceiling, I said ratio. As a base usage math-wise. Guys, tell me where I'm wrong here. That's why Space Marine 2 results are like this on a CPU-heavy game. You keep looking at the 0.5 difference instead of the total difference 100% ratio-wise. And he couldn't understand this. Now I told him Merry Christmas back the other guy. He says, CPU ratio, what the hell are you even talking about? How do you not understand what I mean by ratio percentage? It runs on a higher result better as an average ratio. It's like saying that, but 80% of the time, the Series X CPU is performing better as a higher ratio percentage. It doesn't matter if it's 0.005 megahertz difference. It is faster by any percentage. It makes your claims incorrect. So my claim is incorrect. This guy's lost. I'll tell you, these ponies, man. I'll help you understand. If it uses the higher base clock most of the time, as the PlayStation 5, it loses over a longer period. The PlayStation 5 does not use 3.85 100% of the time. The Series has maintained a higher clock as a base way more, and it can hit max faster and easier. Devs have to make the Pro do that. Hard to get, you lose. Game over. Okay, so, and you know, here. These ponies. Because we're going to get to another one in a second over here. Let me give you a little presentation. We're meeting them. They've been coming on my channel, y'all. There we go. So let's go ahead and go to the other loser. And this guy's coming on my channel a lot. He's kind of slow. He thinks that Sony has driven Nintendo out of the console industry and forced them to make handhelds, not knowing that they've been making handhelds before they existed and that they're nowhere even close to them. But he says other dumb stuff too. He says, oh wow, bro, you really going all out with the PlayStation 5 Pro hate, right? Really, I'm just telling the truth here and balancing the spectrum. As I all know, which I kind of find funny, because that's what he sees. He sees hate because they can't handle when you tell the truth, but they want to bash, like I said, the Xbox generation for a whole generation. It's sad considering Nintendo is about to sell you more dog shit hardware for $400. So he's trying to bash Nintendo now. I said superior games and experiences that I can also play on the go. Look at you talking about specs with a failed generation. Get ready for them to stomp Sony like they've always been doing. And this is what he said: stomped out Sony. They really don't even look at them as competition. No, they try to ignore that because they're superior. Sony chased them out of the console space. Or did you forget that? Guys, Sony chased Nintendo out the console space? Let's take a look at this guy. Yeah, it looks like he eats too much. I got something for him. Don't worry, y'all. This is going to be a entertaining Christmas for y'all. You the one making hate videos on specs, knowing the Switch hardware is complete dog shit. There he goes again, focusing on specs. Other than Zelda and Mario, there's nothing on the Switch that's really that appealing. This is how you know there's people like this that don't own the console, that say stupid shit like this. By the way, guys, it's all great here. Remember what we're doing here. He has a very narrow, peanut-minded point of view by saying that. He's one of those guys that when he looks at the Switch, he probably thinks it's for kids, and then thinks it's just Mario and Zelda, right? That's all there is. That's all his brain sees. He doesn't see anything else past that. When we all know that that's complete dog shit. You say they're going to crush Sony, but if they price the Switch at $500, will the Switch sell as nearly as much as it has? Like, why are you this stupid? Why would it be priced at $500? That's not Nintendo demographic, and it started off at $300 and it never dropped the price. No, because nobody's gonna pay $500 for dog shit hardware, and no parent is gonna. Yeah, you're not important anyways. And I said 102 million, PlayStation 3, 88 million, PSP, 80 million, DS 154 million, 256 million install base dominated. Highest install base in gaming history. No one ever going to come to that. That was insane. PlayStation 4, 118 million. Vita, 16 million. 3DS, almost 80 million. Switch, 150 million. Stop. Left handheld market. Fake. Sony did leave the handheld market and drop him out. I don't understand what he's talking about because, like, you know, we're trying to speak facts here. This is what he said. Wait. What did the Wii U sell again? That's because that was just bad marketing. They shouldn't have named it. It felt like the people thought it was the extension. It was a bad name. Yeah, the Wii U did terrible. But the 3DS was still selling well. How about the GameCube? The GameCube was an awesome console. So what? But guess what? The Game Boy Advance still sold 80-something million. So like I said, when you think about the totality, well, what is this guy trying to say? You steady forgetting that the Nintendo Wii U flopped. No, I didn't forget anything. You're the one that's forgetting that Nintendo never got chased out the industry by Sony. They came back and then stomped them with the Switch. That recovered real quick. Put them back in handhelds. How did they put them back in handhelds? To get back on something, you would have to not be there, right? They were always there. And then the Switch is a console and a handheld. That created the most genius hybrid aspect in gaming history. Again, PlayStation drove them out of the console space. Where? Guys, I'm trying to figure out where they did this because if I'm not mistaken, the Wii U was probably the foundation for the Switch because you could take it off, but now with the Switch you could just take it mostly everywhere. It was still both. And when people always do this, this is how you know they have brain rot. PSP actually released in the PS2 generation, which means it really went head to head with the Game Boy Advanced and SP, and it actually outsold the Game Boy Advance and SP. Oh my God, this guy has brain rot. And I said, you are clueless once again. PSP came out in 2005 to compete with the DS, which came out before it. All you do is make up stuff. You are not bright at all. And this is what I did. I showed him the Nintendo Switch hardware sales. Oh yeah, Sony sold them, drove them out the industry, guys. Look at this right here: 64 million, 46 million, 35 million, 35.29 million, 28. By the way, it's only Mario and Zelda, y'all. Animal Crossing sold 56.45 million. Only Mario and Zelda. Super Smash Brothers sold greatest fighting game of all time, 35.14 million. Tell me what fighting game sells this. It's only Mario and Zelda though. Animal Crossing again. Pokemon. You guys see, forgot about that. 26.44 million. 25.69 million. 21.04 million. Mario Party. Ring Fit. Innovated again. A role-playing exercise game. 15.38 million. Do we see these sales? Luigi's Mansions 3. 14.25 million. Splatoon, right? There's only 13.60 million. Look at this. Look at all these millions right here. Monster Hunter Rise sold 8 million on the Switch. Kirby, 7.52 million. Link's Awakening, Minecraft. Donkey Kong, A Tropical Freeze. Amazing game, by the way. Mario Tennis. Kirby Star Allies. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. One of the greatest games you will ever play. Guys, if you ever get a Switch 2, I promise you, if you pick up Fire Emblem 3 Houses, you will like that even more, or just as much as Persona. Hyrule Warriors. Pikmin. So what are we talking about here? Metroid Dread and Metroid Prime is right around the corner. What are we talking about? Xenoblade Chronicles series? Do we know about that? That series is absolutely amazing, guys. Do not miss the Xenoblade Chronicles series. So let's go ahead and take a look at PlayStation 4, right? We saw the Switch numbers, right? We don't see no 60 million. We don't see no 40 million. We don't see no 30 million. Oh, I see a third-party game. Let's see what Sony's doing. Mainstream. Spider-Man's already well known. And then after that, how are they comparing to Nintendo? They're getting destroyed. What is he talking about? Yeah, shut your mouth. And by the way, oh, you deleted that comment, didn't you? Yeah. And I said, they've been making handhelds before Sony existed. You are ignorant as hell and keep ignoring that Sony is inferior. By the way, let's help him real quick.
Indulging in food is a favorite pastime for many, but considering that 2/3 of Americans, or approximately 207,337,021, are overweight, perhaps we enjoy food a bit too much. So why can't we stop ourselves from consuming so much fatty and sugary food? How do we beat overeating? When your stomach is empty, it releases a hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin interacts in the brain.
There we go. So, you know what? Let's see if I can refresh this page and get back to these comments. We're gonna get back to Phil right here, y'all. We're gonna gamers. We're gonna get back to Phil right here. Let's find him because maybe it's just not showing up. We got a lot of comments here. Here we go. We know he's coming back. So let's go back to the bottom. Okay. I said you were clueless once again. PSP came out in 2005. By the way, this is what he said there. LOL, it released first in Japan in 2004. Stop the cap. Oh, did it now? Watch this. So we see that the right here, it was December 12th, 2004. Because you're saying the DS somehow released before it. And then it came in America in 2005. Guys, tell me what the PSP is competing with right here. Watch the DS right here. The DS was out November 21st, 2004. Yet he said it was competing with the Game Boy Advance. But why did the PSP release after it in December? 154 million, and that's sold 80 million, which is good for Sony. That's the only time they ever did that. By the way, they were combining multiple handheld PSP, PSP Go, and all that other PSP stuff they were doing in Japan and over here as well to do that combined 80 million or whatever. But the Vita sold 60 million and flopped. Around the same time as the Wii U. They both equally had flops, right? But he doesn't say anything about that, which I find funny. So yeah, tell me who's wrong here. See, PlayStation Vita hardware sells between 10 to 15 million estimate. How's that better than the Wii U? They left the industry after that. They have not been in a handheld industry. Now they want to kind of come back after what Nintendo did again, right? Who's copying who? Yeah, that's what I thought. This is what I told him before. You try to bring up GameCube, but elsewhere they're getting slaughtered, and at the same time, the Game Boy sold wonders, two markets combined. Tell me where Sony had a 256 million install base. Because like I said, PS3, the Wii dominated you. Your PSP, you got dominated again by the DS, 154 million. Switch is dominating the PlayStation 4. Big time. Absolutely destroying you. The Switch 2 is going to dominate the PlayStation 5. I'm still trying to figure out, like, and I told him too, just even if we want to look at the total combination here, If you want to look at everything that Nintendo has ever done first party wise, hardware, total combined, almost on 1 billion consoles sold, and first party, because when we talk about Nintendo and Sony, we need to talk about first party and we need to talk about the first party software, publishing and development. Don't bring in no third party because they always try to do this. You know what I mean? Sony started hiding their numbers because the Switch was embarrassing them so much. That's what I told them, right? I gave them that. This is what I said here. I wonder when you're going to stop being fake. Sony ran out of the handheld industry and Nintendo is still here dominating them. Are you in touch with reality? They are around 1 billion consoles sold in totality. And software-wise, first party, they're making them look like a joke, as you saw right there. We don't want to take a look at the PS2 sales or take a look at the DS and all that too. Why do you keep running away from reality? Switch 2 would dominate again. Why do you keep running away from reality? Who got chased out and who doesn't exist? Who hides their numbers? That's what I thought. Who tries to be like who? Who rips off of who? We're not talking about Game Boy. We're talking about the 2 recent failed consoles Nintendo has. Stop buck dancing. 2 recent failed consoles? What 2 recent failed consoles? The only thing that flopped was the Wii U. And then the Vita flopped. You say Sony's in trouble and keeps getting dominated, yet they made more money this gen in the first 4 years than any previous PlayStation combined. There he goes again. You're just talking about microtransactions and third-party and vampiring. We're talking about what they're doing first-party software and development-wise. This is a problem with people like this. Like, they can't face reality. He dumps on Xbox all the time too, but what I find funny is this guy is still going about it, and now he tries to leave the playing field. See what happens when you bring them into rally? They leave the playing field and they start talking about third-party microtransactions, all this nonsense, revenue from Fortnite and all this. No, dude, we're talking about what Sony's doing first-party wise and development wise, and they are failing this generation. Everybody knows it. They're flopping. Microsoft is doing way better than them. Okay, there we go. Once again, no, I'm just gonna make this very clear. Once again, ignoring that the Vita failed and sold just as much as the Wii U, and they left. Nintendo did not leave. They brought both and one device and dominated and will continue to dominate. Sony is the one who left. Now they want to come back. But what's going to happen when they do? You are being a fraud, because you are. I was going to put stop eating, but I'm not going to do that because he's going to see that in this video. But anyways, you guys get the point here. They couldn't handle that the Series X gets wins in certain categories too. They can't handle that Sony's getting stumped by Nintendo. These ponies can't handle any type of reality. We all know this, right? Anywhere that they lose, they'll try to run away from that loss and highlight something in the past and start nitpicking instead of just facing reality. They don't give credit where it's due. They say dumb stuff that makes no sense, like Nintendo getting chased out of the gaming industry. They will be the last for that to happen. You know what I mean? So what I can't stand is like I say, just how slow they are. What is wrong with them? Y'all, I think that we need to put them in a special education section in the gaming industry. The Xbox community is fine, the PC community is fine, and the Nintendo community is the most friendliest community. But the Sony community? Yeah, you know, just a little special. I think we all know this.
Brain with the neurotransmitter NPY and turns on the desire to eat. Once you've satisfied this desire by eating, ghrelin levels drop back down and hunger.
He's not going to do that anyways. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Like I said, we know the truth here. Don't get mad because Series X has a better CPU. Please understand the way math works. Later, y'all.